In this iteration of the SOEs, bearing in mind that we are approaching the Christmas season, that the construction of the powers that will be deployed in the SOEs will be mindful of commerce, of entertainment, and of persons' movement. So the notion that somehow the SOEs will cripple business or cripple commerce, that's false.
You've heard it. Prime Minister Andrew Holness in his recent declaration of another set of SOEs across the island in an effort to make you and your family safe, especially during this busy season. Hello there and welcome. You're inside another Sunday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson and I'll be your guide for the next half hour. We have so much more in store on the flip side of the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
To deal with crime and violence, we must be united. Please cooperate with the security forces. Call 311-119 or the JDF tip line. If you know something and you not talk, you're a part of the problem.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The government has established a framework that prohibits the illicit trading of firearms and ammunition through the new Firearms Act of 2022. Join us now and get the facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. Establishing a framework that prohibits the illicit trading of firearms and ammunition and distinguishing the regulation of items that are lawfully acquired and duly registered, these are the objectives of the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act 2022. A lot of information is laid out in the Act, but our able guest will break down the information clause by clause. She's Director of Corporate Communications and Client Relations at the Firearms Licensing Authority, FLA, Beverly Robinson. Welcome to the program, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I mentioned right at the start there are two of the major goals of this new Act or this updated Act. Are there any other goals of it? Apart from?
Well, to allow for a framework for the efficient, would say, management of the private firearm industry in Jamaica.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so let's jump into the clauses. I'm sure you would recommend that everybody reads the thing for themselves.
Yes, we all need to read it.
All right, well, let me ask you some specific things. Now, Part 2 of the Act looks at the prohibitions in respect of firearms and ammunitions. What are some of the key changes in this area?
There are issues such as stockpiling. So you're not allowed to stockpile neither ammunition nor firearms.
Okay.
And if you do, then the penalty is going to be life imprisonment.
Yeah, as a private citizen.
Right. The discharge of your weapon must only be in protection of yourself or your personal property, or in protection of someone else and their personal property, or in the unusual case that you're protecting your property from a trespassing animal. Therefore, gun salutes are an offense.
Christmas time.
Right. And I mean, for events, we have this habit, some firearm license holders and illegal firearm license holders of celebrating with their firearms. And the sanctions, the penalties are very, very harsh, and it is an offense. There is also a tendency during special times of the year when we celebrate special events for people to attend events, and nobody's too sure who has the licensed firearm. It's probably with a brother, or it is probably secured in some container somewhere. That is illegal, and it's an offense.
What's the legal way of going about that?
Your firearm, the Act specifically states where your firearm should be stored at all times.
Okay.
So it must either be in a holster on your person, in a safe at your home, and the word safe is the operative word, not in the drawer underneath the bed, or underneath the mattress.
Safe.
Right. Or with the FLA, or with a police station. So anywhere else it is placed, you're committing an offense.
You had mentioned not with a brother. The holster has to be
on you, right?
The license.
Right.
Understood.
And if your firearm is lost or stolen, then the duty is on you to report it to the police the minute you discover that it is lost or stolen.
We're going to talk.
On the other hand, if you find a firearm, then you come in possession of a firearm by whatever reason, then your duty, that's a duty on you, whether you are a license holder or if it's not your firearm and you're a license holder, then you have a duty to report it to the police. You may be a medical person who is on a scene and you get in contact. Your duty is to report it to the police. And if you're a fireman, your duty is to report it to the police.
You said duty.
It is a duty.
So there are legal ramifications.
Yes, in the Act, it is clearly defined as a duty. Right.
Can we go back a little bit? You had mentioned when we were looking at part 2, the prohibition in respect of firearms and ammunition, that's stockpiling.
Yes.
That's a thing. What constitutes a stockpile?
Stockpiling is having firearms that you're not authorized. So let's say a licensed firearm holder. The only firearms you're supposed to have are those that you're authorized to have. And by authorized, we don't mean that you got your license 10 years ago and you're still authorized. Authorization means that you have renewed your license. It also means that you have come in and you have had your license registered. Right. So that is authorized.
All right.
Right. And the other level of authorized we're going to move to under the Act is that your firearm will be marked. Right. So every privately owned firearm in Jamaica will have a unique marking that will be engraved by the FLA. So that is another a new provision under the Act. Right. So the FLA already has the machines, and so that is a process that will be starting very soon.
Understood. Any other new additions or changes?
Well, if you try to remove the markings that are placed on the firearm, then it's an offense.
I'm looking here also at the fact that there is a restriction in respect of firearms and ammunition. Does that contain different clauses from the prohibitions in respect of the firearms and ammunition?
The restrictions have to do with where and how and under what circumstances you may use a firearm. Right. So like we spoke about discharging your firearm in a public space. Right? And the restrictions would say, save in the event that you're protecting your life, you're protecting the life of someone, you're protecting your property, you're protecting the property of someone, you have a trespassing animal, you have gotten authority from the FLA to do so, or I think that literally covers it.
That covers it.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. We're not done yet with this conversation. Quite a bit more facts to get. And the conversation with Ms. Robinson continues on the other side of this break. It's a very interesting conversation. So please, stay with us.
Jamaicans, look on the murder rate. You think that normal? We need to get every illegal gun and save our country.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are discussing key changes in the new Firearms Act 2022 with Ms. Beverly Robinson, Director of Corporate Communications and Client Relations at the Firearms Licensing Authority, FLA. Ms. Robinson, we were discussing the Act, and I know that there have been some changes contained in the Act in relation to the FLA itself. What are some of those changes?
Well, within the context of the FLA, we are now empowered to put markings on firearms.
Right.
And that is revolutionary, because what it means is that if a licensed firearm is used to conduct any kind of illegal activity, it will be easily traced. Because in addition to the markings, we also are doing ballistic testings on the firearms under the Act. We are also empowered to do that. So we can trace bullet casings and warheads.
So this is prior, so in a practical sense, I'm coming into possession of a weapon. Before that is in my possession, the marking is done, the ballistics are taken, so it's on file before it comes into my possession.
Exactly. And in addition, a register is being kept by the Institute of Forensic Medicine, IFSLM. Right. And they will be the registrars for all the legal firearms that are in Jamaica. So those owned by the JCF, those owned by the JDF, and those which are licensed with the FLA.
Privately.
Right. So you will see that the net effect of this is a tightening up, right,
so
of the management,
right,
of the legal firearms. Right.
All right. And any other changes in FLA? Just those major ones?
Well, I would say that I see as a major change, because it will entail expansion of our ballistic unit. We have technical expertise in ballistics at the FLA. And that will expand that function, that department, given the scope of the work that is needed to be done. Because those persons who already have firearms, those will also be marked. So those that are coming in will be marked and ballistically tested, and the existing ones will be marked as well and ballistically tested. Well, a number of them have already been ballistically tested. We have started the process. It's going forward. Right. In addition, we now require license for other categories. So our mandate has been expanded to provide license for manufacturers, for brokers, firearm brokers. Firearm manufacturers are those who will be allowed to manufacture firearms and ammunitions in Jamaica.
This is new.
Right, absolutely. And sell them in Jamaica. There are also gun license clubs that are associations or unions that have common interest and are solely for the purpose of, gun activities, recreational activities, etc. Right. Then there are the range operators and the range owners, and each category will also require to have licenses.
I noticed you made a distinction.
There are
versus owner.
Right. There is a difference.
Yes.
Because you can own the range and not be operating it.
The day-to-day.
The day-to-day running of it. So if you're the operator, you will require a license. And if you're the owner, you will also require a license. Another category of industry players who will now require a license are the trainers. Because before, they were just FLA approved trainers, but now they will be licensed. So they will be required to apply for licenses. Right.
I'm noticing that while this is an act, and many times we have gotten the impression that acts mean more restrictions, I recognize that this act makes provision for new business.
Absolutely. There is also the transshipment permit that can be authorized by the Minister of National Security. Right? So if you are, for example, moving firearm and ammunitions, and say you stop at Jamaica and you're on board and you put on another ship, then that you need a permit for transit. You also need a permit. So yes, it is tightening up the industry in terms of effectively regulating and ensuring compliance with the Act, right? But it's also an opportunity for industry players and people outside of the industry to join in.
It sounds very comprehensive.
Right.
And I have to ask, and I'm sure many of our guests will have this question. Has anything changed about the application process for having a firearm?
Well, the application process remains the same.
Okay.
Right. The process remains the same.
Yes.
And people are able to download an application on our website, right? And all the new Firearm Act is there as well. And we also have a call center. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, IG, Instagram, right? And you can also find us on Google Maps, and you can ask us questions on Google Maps. So the point I'm making is that we're accessible, and whatever information you need, you can just call and we will provide it.
Indeed.
Right. One of our rules under the new Act is public education. So that, and we have already started, as you're aware, in the Jamaican market space, just informing and educating about the new Act.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And well, I feel informed, and I know that
happy.
I know that those who are watching have gotten quite a bit of the facts, but there's so much more to south of this.
Yes.
We haven't touched a lot of the Act.
Yes.
And again, the encouragement is read the Act.
Yeah, and it's on FLA's website.
Yes.
And we also post on the Act on our social media platforms.
Okay.
Right.
So if
you follow us, you will be in the loop.
You'll get it. If you are either a licensed gun owner or you're interested in becoming so, it's crucial that you read this thing for yourself and understand what's being done. So, for more information, you may also contact the Firearms Licensing Authority by phone. It's 876-927-5158, and all the other ways that Ms. Robinson has laid out, social media, there will be contact forms on the website, email. You can use all these methods to get directly in touch. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest has been Director of Corporate Communications and Client Relations at the Firearms Licensing Authority, FLA, Beverly Robinson. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
The government, after careful consideration on the advice of the security chiefs, decided to advise the Governor General that it was necessary and indeed appropriate to declare 2 states of public emergency. One in the entire parish of St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and specified areas in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew. The other is in the entire parishes of St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover. Since the end of the last state of emergency, we have seen, unfortunately, an increase in criminal activities in these areas, and indeed a threat to property and, in some instances, public disorder. I have followed closely the political debate in the House and the Senate, as well as the public discourse in the media, including social media. And I want to make a number of things clear for the Jamaican public. The question of whether the SOEs work to achieve the purpose for which they are intended, which is to protect and save lives, has very clearly and definitively been settled. The data could not be more conclusive. We have some really serious criminal threats facing us, and we have to use all the powers at our disposal. I believe Jamaica understands that while the government is trying to improve the legislative framework, improve the capacity of our police to be able to execute their jobs with greater technology, greater efficiency, greater training. In the interim, we have to ensure that our homicide rate and the level of violence that citizens experience on a daily basis does not get to the point where it threatens the collapse of the state. There are several countries in this region where the level of violence, criminally organized violence by gangs, are threatening the very foundations of the state. We will not have that in Jamaica as long as I am your Prime Minister.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Original.
I head to Washington to have meetings with the Justice Department, the FBI, and other entities there to start the process of getting a more intense cooperation in treating with the foreign actors in our local crime. Those dons, those who have migrated overseas, that in this season they will be sending the bag of rice and all the other goodies in the barrel. But secreted in that bag of rice, wrapped up in that blanket, will be a gun or ammunition or parts thereof. Not for your benefit, but to give to a youngster to kill. They can't feel that they are free to influence, direct, solicit, and finance crime in Jamaica. I am serious. If you are overseas and you are sponsoring, directing, soliciting, or financing crime in Jamaica, we're going to get you.
Holiday shopping is in full swing, but out of an abundance of caution, we urge you to spend wisely. In this feature, we show you how.
So you've been budgeting all year long, and you may think that Christmas is the time to, cut your dollars a little loose. Hold on, before you think about that, remember that the New Year is just a few days away. So rather than having to restructure your finances then, how about you continue budgeting right now? We have some financial experts dropping some nuggets of wisdom about drafting your Christmas budget and stitching up your holiday finances.
Christmas time is the time when we want to have fun and frolic. And so it's a time when we can really get distracted from the fact that we do have reality that comes next year. So that's why budgeting is important, because we want to ensure that whatever we do to make our Christmas fat does not make our New Year frugal. So look back at your budgets. Look carefully. How much money do you really have to spend on the Christmas? One of the tips is you can actually put that money in something and call it your Christmas budget. So separate that Christmas budget from all the other accounts. Have your ATM card connected to that particular budget, that particular account. And when you go shopping, remember, you know exactly what your budget is. And let us say that budget is $30,000. If you have budgeted that you're going to spend at $30,000 on 5 persons and you have overspent on one gift, then automatically you'll know that in order to make sure there's money in the account, you've got to cut back on another. If you keep all the money in one place, it's not going to register psychologically that, hey, I've reached my max. So it becomes important to put things in place for yourself so that you can have fun this Christmas. But remember, next year, rather than being totally frugal, can be fat.
Do proper budgets leading up to even this Christmas and determine what your disposable income is. Don't spend outside of your disposable income. Make sure that you put aside money for the necessities like food that you need to eat. Also, because Christmas is here, it doesn't mean that you don't have the car payment and you don't have the mortgage. And also remember that people normally get paid earlier. So the next paycheck is going to be more than a month away. So ensure that you do that proper budgeting.
If you've spent enough Christmas here in JA or most places really, it's easy to recognize the extravagant spending and skimpy saving habits that crop up during this time of the year. But understanding those trends could very well be the means to achieving your thrifty Christmas experience.
People spend a lot more because of the euphoria of the season. People get caught up and people will just go out there and spend, which is why I said people should budget and stick to the budget, because when you get caught up in the euphoria and the emotions come on of Christmas, you want to, anything you see you'll spend. So you're going to the store and because you're happy, because it's Christmas time, you go in and you just spend anything you see, especially when you have a credit card. If you don't have control over your credit card, leave it at home. Don't carry it with you.
Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna write down the names of every single individual that you want to give something to. Look at that maximum budget that you have and then divide it out and see, okay, if my maximum budget is $30,000 and I have 30 people on the list, then it would mean $1,000 per person if we divide it equally. So I know that some persons are going to deserve a gift that would be costing more than the $1,000. So now you would now start to say, okay, this person, based on who they are to me, this person needs a $10,000 gift on average. So it leaves me with $20,000 for everybody else. So do it that way. Now for some persons, you're going to realize, hey, I can't buy a gift.
We can still enjoy Christmas as it was supposed to be, which is really just enjoying it with friends, families. Go to church maybe this year, and you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on entertainment, on food, and on gifts. Just spend time with friends and family, which is the most important thing.
So I guess the good news is that with a bit of financial planning and some resourcefulness, we can still have a very Merry Christmas while avoiding the financial fatigue of the new year.
We've come to the end of the show, but to rewatch today's offering or other content like this, visit our website, jis.gov.jm. Be sure to join us again tomorrow on this same station for another exciting installment of Jamaica Magazine. From all of us here at the GIS, have yourself a wonderful Sunday. I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.